welcome to Sophia, Pauline, and Jenna's cooking show, and today we will be making crepes. So the first ingredient we will need is 500 milliliters of water, 500 milliliters of milk, as well as 500 grams of flour, also including 6 eggs. And lastly, we will need 4 tablespoons of oil. So we're just going to jump right in and talk about the brief history of France, which is located in Europe, of course. And so to begin with, the French people are the descendants of Gauls and Romans, Western European Celtic, as well as Italic peoples. So one of France's major contributions was the gift of the very famous Statue of Liberty to the United States on October 20th, 1886. And this statue is located in New York City today, and it was created by the French sculptor Frederic Bartholdi. So as I said before, we are creating crepes, and this is a very popular French dish. The word crepe comes from a Latin word crispus, which meant crisp. It was created in the 13th century in Brittany, France, which is also known as the northern part of France. And fun fact, they were actually created by spilling porridge on a hot flat stove, surprisingly creating a very sweet and savory French dish.
So on to historical events that revolve around France. So we have the French Revolution, World War I, and the liberation of Paris. So the French Revolution. This began on July 14th, 1789. And basically what was happening was the people were trying to overthrow the monarchy and gain control of their government because they wanted their rights and they wanted to be able to have a say in what was going on in their own country. So the main issue was the government interference and the wants of old immigrants who wanted to restore their regime in the country. So this event is important to the area because it changed the way that France was governed. Obviously, it went from a monarchy to letting the people rule, and this affected, of course, the civilians of France. Now, the French Revolution ended in 1799. And Napoleon Bonaparte overthrew the revolutionary government and established the French consulate. So, the next major historical event that we will be discussing is World War I, which is also known as the Great War. This began on July 28th, 1914. What started the war was when the Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria-Hungary was assassinated. So one of the big problems was that so many countries had formed allies with each other, and these ended up being split into the Axis and the Allied powers. So this resulted in almost like the whole world being involved in this war, and around 9 million people ended up dying from this, and people from all around the world were experiencing poverty. They were mourning the deaths of their loved ones, the destruction of their cities and their homes. People were dealing with PTSD, and it was just an overall really rough time. Now, the last historical event that we will be discussing is the liberation of Paris from Nazi occupation, also known as the Battle of Paris in Belgium. So, this was a military battle when the German garrison surrendered the French capital. So it lasted from August 19th to August 25th, 1944. This began when the French forces of the interior staged an uprising against the German garrison. This was an important event because it was when France was freed from the Nazi control. Now, both German and French military and civilians were affected during this whole outrage. Now, again, this ended on August 25th, 1944, and the Nazi forces ended up leading that resistance back into Germany after retreating. Okay, so now we will be going over the process of making crepes. So once you have your batter, you are going to put it in the refrigerator for approximately 20 minutes, let it rest, let it get nice and settled, and then what you do is you mix it around a little bit more with a ladle. And then you need to get your special little pan, put it on an open flame. Now the flame has to be all the way up, like at its maximum heat, because that's how these things work. So you butter up your pan, you see if the butter is browning, then it means that the pan is hot enough and it's ready. You put your batter on, you turn the pan to make like those circular motions. That way the batter gets all around and it makes a nice round circular shape. You can check underneath the crepe with a spatula to make sure it is browning on the bottom and make sure it's getting a good color. And then what you do is you flip it, you cook it a bit more on that side, and then your crepes are ready. Now you can eat these with Nutella. You can add jam, you can add sugar if you want these sweet. So for as a snack or for dessert, you can add whipped cream, berries, ice cream, really customize it. Then if you'd rather have a savory crepe, this is when you don't put sugar in the batter. You can get your eggs, you can get your ham, and you can get your cheese. You put those in the crepe. You can fold it however you want. So you can fold it, roll it up like a tortilla, or you can cut them up. You can really do whatever.
You went to the bathroom, so I'm gonna try to make one. I'm gonna start putting butter. Do you know what she said? She said that she wanted to create her own butter. No. No. You're kidding. No. 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 I give up.
So next we will be discussing current events that are occurring in France.
So, November 27th, 2018, in France, the Yellow Jacket protest occurred, and then it was basically about gasoline prices. It was taxes that were made on gasoline and causing it to be higher than it already is, and people really didn't like that because gas is already a lot of money. So basically, thousands of demonstrators gathered and are now known as the Yellow Jackets. They started to protest and about the gas. So on January 1st, the tax on gasoline was finalized, and it went up 12 cents per gallon, and on diesel it went up even higher, which was 28 cents per gallon. Who was involved? Well, the person that enforced the tax was Macron. He also, he made them protest because he enforced the taxes. So from then to now, the progression didn't really get anywhere. People are still protesting against the taxes, and over 125,000 people join the protest every time. And what does this affect? This affects people's money, like people's economy, France's economy. It was already high gas prices to begin with, so imagine like 12 cents or 28 more cents more. It really just makes the working class struggle a little more. It starts affecting people's minimum wage, regular prices, people becoming unstable basically because of the taxes that he is enforcing. So that's basically what the Yellow Jacket protest was about.
Another recent current event in France would be the burning down of the Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris, France. So this cathedral was constructed in 1344. On April 15th, 2009, the cathedral ended up burning the center dome and parts of the towers. Now, they say that this is due to some faulty wiring because the cathedral was undergoing construction at the time. So it is not sure exactly how this happened, but it is said that it was not done purposefully. Now, since then, billions of dollars have been donated to help rebuild the cathedral, and the people of France have been devastated and horrified by these events, as this is a national monument for the country. Now, our last current event is more of an honorable mention. So, in 2015, this event was known as the Thalys train attack. So, this attack occurred on August of 2015 on a French high-speed train traveling from Amsterdam to Paris. So, Moroccan gunman Ayoub El-Khanazi opened fire on the train. So now luckily we had these off-duty American military members there to help. So what they did was they tackled the gunman. One of the men was slashed by the gunman because he also had his knives, but they were able to stop a horrible tragedy from happening. And these men were Alex Garlotto, Spencer Stone, and Anthony Sadler. So these men would later be awarded with France's top honor, which is La Légion d'honneur, and this was given to them by the President François Hollande. So the people of France were very, very grateful for what these men had done to protect their people, and these men were awarded French citizenship as a reward.